Welcome back to BS Sports Talk, our BS or not BS segment of the week.
Yep. We got up, I'm going to call out some guys here, different scenarios.
Yeah.
Who we got first here? Josh Allen. Here it is. Is it BS or not BS?
Yep.
Josh Allen will finish as a top 5 fantasy quarterback this year. What you got?
I'm calling BS.
Ooh, okay. All right.
If you told me top 10, I'll give you top 10. I think he's been impressive through 2 weeks, but that's against the Jets and that's against the Dolphins.
Yeah, I agree with you on there. I mean, obviously he's looked phenomenal.
Really good.
Those defenses are not phenomenal, and especially from a fantasy perspective. The last 4 to 5 games, faces some tough defenses. I think San Francisco is in there.
Yep. New England's going to be a little challenging, I think.
So it's tough. So I don't think with the other guys in the top 5.
Right.
I mean, you're talking Lamar Miller,
Patrick Mahomes, Kyler Murray this year.
Cam Newton's looking phenomenal so
Cam
far.
Newton looks to have turned the clock back. Aaron Rodgers is playing with a chip on his shoulder. Yeah. I just think that in the conference they're in, when the weather breaks, when it starts to snow, when it's windy, will Josh Allen keep putting up these numbers? I don't know. Will he stay healthy? He played all 16 last year, his rookie year. He got hurt in the middle of the season.
Yep.
I think Josh Allen is a strong top 10 candidate. Yep. I don't think top 5. I'm calling BS on it.
I agree.
You don't like it? Come call my BS. Josh Allen.
Come at us, Bills fans.
Come at us, Bills Mafia.
All right.
Our next one.
Hey, go for it.
Will Calvin Ridley stay a top 3 fantasy wide receiver this year? He's ranked number 1 right now by about 14, 15 points.
Yeah, that's true. I'm going to call BS on that one.
Yeah,
I
agree.
I think he's definitely top 10. I think that's more of a realistic realm for him.
I agree.
I think it's just tough, especially with Julio kind of, if Julio goes down or is injured, doesn't play. I think it's actually worse for Ridley.
I agree with that. I think that if you watched them on the Cowboys, there were times where Julio's getting triple covered, where the zone is completely shadowing in on Julio and Ridley sitting there wide open, which is the case because you don't want to let Julio beat you.
Yeah.
I think Calvin Ridley has all the potential in the world. The other thing for me is let's see if he stays healthy.
Yeah.
He missed a considerable amount of time last year. He was having a great year last year. I just think top 3 wide receiver, especially with Julio being banged up, with Hayden Hurst coming out last game, Russell Gage. I think Todd Gurley's running the ball, 20 carries last game. I think it's going to be a little bit harder going forward for Ridley to keep putting up these astronomical numbers.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just the volume.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just tough with all those weapons, I said, especially with Hayden Hurst coming on.
Yeah.
Man, the more comfortable they get with him and Gurley as well as a pass catcher, the more comfortable he gets in that offense.
Yep.
I just don't know with Gage coming out as well. I just don't think there's enough volume for him to maintain top 3. Top 10 definitely not top 3 for me. I call BS on that.
I agree with you, BS.
All right, next up, Minshew Magic. Gardner Minshew is right now already through the first 2 games. Is Gardner Minshew fantasy relevant or a starter quarterback 1?
I think he is. I'm going to call it.
You're going to say no BS on that one.
I think Gardner Minshew, and we had a fan question about what we thought. I think Gardner Minshew has even overdone what I thought he could do. I'm shocked here.
I was in on him already.
Yeah, I was on the fence. I'm not going to lie, but I mean, coming off of last week, he has a 75% completion rating on the season. He has thrown only 2 interceptions. The kid's playing really well, and he's being smart with the ball. His completion percentage is high. He's carrying the ball when he needs to, and he's finding a rapport with more than just his top shelf weapons with DJ Chark. I mean, he's hitting Eifert, he's hitting Keelan Cole, Laviska Shenault's getting catches.
Conley was even in there too.
James Robinson's catching it out of the backfield.
Yeah.
Chris Thompson's catching touchdowns out of the backfield. I am in on Minshew Mania, finishing as a QB1 this year, top 12 quarterback this year.
Yeah, I think for sure. I said with the Jags, I think they're wildly underrated. That offensive line brought all 5 starters back.
Yep.
Big time underrated. You got all those wide receivers. You added Laviska Shenault to the mix. You have Chark we know about. So I think they're poised. I think Minshew stays relevant the whole season.
I agree. So our next take. Will Deshaun Watson finish as a top 10 QB this year? He was drafted as QB 3, 4, or 5 in most leagues.
Right.
Do you think he finishes in the top 10 this year?
What do you think? I want to go with you on this one. You call him BS or not BS?
I'm calling BS.
Okay, so you say he's not a top 10 fantasy quarterback this year.
And I don't think it has anything to do with Deshaun Watson as a player. I'm a big Deshaun Watson fan. I think he actually has a lot of favorable matchups coming up.
Yep.
My problem with him, or not him, but his team, is he's throwing to Brandon Cooks. He's throwing to Will Fuller. You're throwing to David Johnson. David Johnson running out of the backfield.
And none of those are on the level of Hopkins.
They don't finish seasons, or they don't stay healthy, any of them, throughout the whole season. That offensive line has been horrendous for him this year. He's running for his life. He's about to play Pittsburgh this week, which blitzes 75% of the time.
Another tough matchup.
If he stays healthy, I still just don't think he has the weapons and the talent around him to finish top 10 this year. I don't personally see it for him. And again, he's talented enough. It has nothing to do with his talent. It has everything to do with the talent around him.
Yeah, I think that, and then the talent of all the other quarterbacks at the position.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
Like I said, all the quarterbacks we just mentioned.
Yep.
I mean, it's just tough. I don't think he's far out of the top 10.
Right.
He might be 11 or 12. I just think it's tough for him with the lack of options and kind of refiguring out that offense. I just don't know if he can get up into that top 10 this year.
I agree. I think that it's going to be tough.
We call
for him.
BS on that.
BS Deshaun Watson.
All right, last one.
Last but not least, this is. Will we have 2 rookie running backs, Jonathan Taylor and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, finish top 10 in the fantasy rankings this year?
I am not going to call BS on that.
Agreed.
I think that's legit.
I think so.
Based on the volume, especially with Taylor. I mean, Taylor could have been in the mix even when Mac was there. There was a shot. But now, seeing Mac go down, but even bigger than that, seeing how much they relied on him and took out Nyheim Hines. Yeah. Nyheim Hines had 1 offensive opportunity last week. One.
Rough. I'm
scored
sorry.
2 touchdowns the week before.
That was your guy.
1 offensive opportunity.
And Taylor had 28 carries. 21 of them came in the first half even.
I think that volume mixed with that offensive line, I think I would be wildly surprised if he's not top 10.
My opinion, and this is totally going out, I think he has a better chance of going top 10 than Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
I think so, based on team setup, game flow, and I think he is now the biggest offensive weapon on that.
Absolutely.
As where Helaire, he's in the mix.
I agree.
You have obviously Kelsey, and you have Tyreek Hill, and you have Mecole Hardman. You have all these guys. Now, I still think he has a shot to break the top 10 as well, but I would think Taylor over him. But just the usage, especially seeing that they got him involved in the passing game last week, big time with him. I think they're committed to getting the ball in his hands.
I agree. I like Taylor and Helaire this year to finish top 10. Now, part of that's due to some injuries. Calf's out hurt. I do think a couple of these other top performing backs right now. We will see another 1 or 2. Barkley's out for the season. I think both of these kids have a chance to sneak up in there and both be top 10 this year.
Yep. All right, guys, that's it for the BS Not BS segment. Make sure, if any of these, call our BS in the comments.
Hit us in the comments. We will respond to you if you call BS on anything.
Yep. All right, guys.
Appreciate you guys.